Hi, James Clements. This is the third video in this bid management case study, Review and Approval. You've probably seen this diagram. It shows the timeline where you can affect changes to a project's outcome, with clearly the most easily influential time being at the start. So for us bid managers, we have significant opportunity to not only win the bid, but also to influence the project outcomes. Unfortunately, many companies enter bids with a win-at-all-cost mentality. And let's be clear, winning is very, very important, make no mistake, but not at all costs. So bid managers have two objectives: win the bid and set the project up for success. So one of the main tools the bid manager has to achieve this is the review and approval process. So let's look at those two objectives a bit deeper. Obviously, our primary objective is to win the bid and establish a profitable project. The second objectives of a review and approval process are probably the more interesting for this discussion. Firstly, incremental review of the bid deliverables. Regularly in a bid, nothing is finished until the last minute. This can leave reviewers and approvers a monumental task to review what's been developed. Worse than this massive workload, if one or more deliverables is wrong, if the estimate is too high, if one of your authors has totally missed the point, you have no time to make any adjustments. You need a system in place that checks progress of the deliverables, adherence to the bid strategy, and inclusion of the win themes. Having this system in place helps you catch any misalignments in your strategy and ensure the physical progress of the deliverables. Secondly, to check the accuracy and quality of the underlying information. When you do a bid, you'll most likely put an estimate of cost together, analyze and mitigate risks, identify and maximize opportunities, review and establish a commercial or contract framework, and set up the schedule and project management framework. Most of these things will not be deliverables, rather they feed into the deliverables, but to ensure their accuracy, you need to review and have them approved by the responsible managers just as you do the deliverables. More importantly, the responsible manager needs to have a role in the development and buy into the project strategy. This makes the project manager's job so much easier during the project execution. Finally, to gain support for the proposal. When the proposal is complete, you'll likely have to present it to whoever is ultimately responsible in the company for the project's outcome. You need to involve all of the people that person will turn to in order for them to gain the comfort necessary that the proposal is the best it could be, and that the underlying risks, estimates, schedules and commercial frameworks are in fact correct and will result in both a winning bid and a successful project. So let's look at a practical example of a review and approval process. I'll use the case study as an example, then contrast this with a typical process for a smaller project. In this bid, which remember was for a $2 billion contract, this review and approval process was carried out. Firstly, a bid/no-bid decision, bid strategy, several brainstorming sessions, and because of the ever-evolving nature of the bid, this was pretty much an ongoing process. Win themes, a third-party facilitated workshop that ultimately informed the later review process. Storyboard review. Before any writing takes place and once the bid strategy and win themes have been established and deliverable authors allocated, the authors were then required to storyboard how they would address the RFT requirements and integrate the bid strategy and win themes into the deliverables. Remember, this has to be done before any writing takes place. Discipline workshops. There were a series of working groups in all of the major disciplines such as commercial, finance, HR, project management, supply chain management, engineering, and these included peer reviews and third-party expert reviews. The red reviews. There were 2 red reviews for first and second drafts of the deliverables. This was the main opportunity to edit and ensure authors were on the right track and be satisfied sufficient progress was being made. Risk and opportunity workshops and reviews. These were also third-party facilitated. Discipline reviews. Final peer and third-party reviews of all the disciplines, plans and deliverables. Program review. This is the final review of the project management aspects of the bid. Essentially, it is to check and ensure the whole bid hangs together as a project. Phase E review. This is the final check to ensure all elements of the bid have been reviewed and approved by the responsible managers and it is now ready for executive approval. Gold review is the final executive and pricing review. Looking back at that, it was a huge undertaking, but remember it was a $2 billion contract and this all occurred over a 7-month period. So let's get a bit more practical and contrast that with the minimum I would recommend for a project in the $1 to $5 million range. Again, you need a bid/no-bid process, always required, and you should refer back to my first video, bid qualification, on the lead up to the activities required. Bid strategy and win themes. This can be as simple as a strategy meeting between the bid manager and other senior people to establish how you will structure your proposal, differentiate your offer in the marketplace, and the key messages you want to send to the client. Discipline reviews. I would recommend each discipline lead review their section of the bid documents, have a planning meeting with each of the major disciplines involved in the bid, review the bid strategy and win themes and how these will be incorporated in the bid, and discuss and resolve any issues that have arisen from the bid document review. Final reviews. This is really the reconvened discipline reviews where you review the underlying data that will make up the bid, such things as commercial, risk, project management, estimating, engineering, and so forth. I would think most bid deliverables can be reviewed offline by the discipline leads. Pricing review. This is where you take the final proposal to whoever is responsible for sign-off, outline the bid strategy, the work that has been done to arrive at the final proposal, and discuss and agree the final price offer. Next week I'll be discussing bid strategy and win themes. Remember, you can subscribe to this series in my YouTube channel by clicking the box on the top right hand corner of this video, or register on my blog for regular articles and notification about new videos. Thank you.